Okay, so this is our third time producing our show. Uh-huh. Yeah, put food in your mouth. That's what you should do. You should just
I'm
chew while
doing
I'm
that.
talking.
Okay, I did. I
So
put a
she
piece
keeps
of candy in my
interrupting
mouth.
me, and so we're trying to find a way around that. You should have sucker in your mouth. So I'm Nori, and I have three children: 14-year-old boy, 10-year-old girl, 8-year-old boy. Been married almost 20 years. And she and I have been friends for 30 years. 30 years. She grew up in Austin with me, though she lived in Georgia for a time, which she considers to be very significant to her life story because of the South.
And that's where my mom died.
It's where your mom died. So grew up in Austin with me, but then moved to Los Angeles 20 years ago because her husband is in the industry. And so we have interesting conversations. We like to read a lot and listen to a lot and talk about things that aren't just children. And I mean, maybe people want to hear it. That's what we're gonna see. Our brilliant talks. Okay, your turn. You introduce yourself,
Well,
Bobby.
you introduced yourself, but then you talked about me. So I should introduce myself and then talk about you.
Just do whatever you want.
My name is Bobby. I have 4 children. My oldest is currently in Texas going to college, and the other 3 are still with us here in Los Angeles. 2 other high schoolers and a bonus baby, as they call them, 4th grader. And yes, I have lived in Los Angeles for 20 years, longer than I actually lived in Texas. Crazy enough, but I still
Oh,
feel
that's
like,
interesting.
yeah, but I still feel like very rooted in Austin. Even though I know it's changed a ton, I still feel very, and my kids also say they're Texan, which they're not at all Texan.
Well,
And
since they were little, y'all have always come to Texas for the summer,
always, yeah,
so that's why.
yes, yeah. And then I did live in Georgia for 3 years, formative 3 years. I was in middle school, and that's right after my parents divorced. We moved there. And then that is where my mom is buried, and that's where she died. Although she grew up internationally, she did not grow up in the States except for her college experience. So I have worked, I don't know if this has anything to do with it, but I've worked multiple jobs in every area. And I think we've known each other longer than 30 years.
I was just rounding.
Okay. Long time.
Yes, and
And
we
we're
knew
very
each
different.
other in middle school, and then when my mom died, you reached out to me because your mom had
Yes.
died the year before.
Yep.
And we are opposites. Safe to say we're opposites,
I would
but
say we both have brown hair.
yes,
That's
but
about it.
people think we're twins at the same
It's so
time, even
true.
though we're opposites.
Literally, I'm like significantly taller, opposite bodies, opposite. I'm white, very, very white. You're like very olive complected.
Yeah.
Um,
And I think that's why we like talking to each other because we have totally different perspectives.
very
And
different.
probably why we don't get clashed too much because we don't really compete with each other because we're so different, I think. I don't know.
Yeah,
Whatever. It
we
works.
think very differently. It works. Yeah. Even if it's just now a history of having known each other for so long, it works.
Okay. Yep. So you sent me a podcast today. What's it
Did you
called
listen?
again? Question
Uh,
Everything. Yes, I just
mhm.
finished it. And I was like, oh, we can talk about it. Perfect. And I sent it to my friend who grew up in the Soviet Union because I thought it was so
I
interesting to hear
wondered.
her, to see her perspective.
Hmm.
And it was funny. So basically, it was about media capture. And how do you know you're in a dictatorship because the media has been captured by the authoritarian? And it was the one thing that made me send it to my friend who's grew up in the Soviet Union is like everyone's arguing about, is this fascism? Is this authoritarianism? And she and her husband moved here because when the Soviet Union fell, everyone still stayed in power in her country. And so the people who ran the KGB, they're just, you know, in power here, right? Things like that didn't change. And so she said there was a ton of corruption. And that was why they came here, was they tried to start businesses and you would have to, like the mafia, you would have to cut the the government a share of your profits. It was just very corrupt. And now they're here and it's happening here. And when this first started, I asked her, like, do you guys feel silly for coming here now that we're Russia? And she was like, yes, absolutely. And I was like, wait, I was kidding. It was a joke. And so it's just funny to hear that there's a woman in the podcast. It's called Question Everything.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And she's from Georgia. And she's basically like, yes, this is very much like Russia.
Georgia, the country, not Georgia,
Right.
the
Georgia,
state.
the country, right next to uh, Ukraine and Azerbaijan
Mm-hmm.
and Turkey, like right around there.
Yep.
And so I just think it's funny. It's like Americans are so arrogant in general, I think, and think we know everything. And it's like, well, people that actually grew up with authoritarians and people who are experts on fascism, they're all saying that this is what it is, right?
Mm-hmm.
But of
Yeah,
course,
that's
Americans are
been
like,
my.
no, it's not. No, it's
That could
not.
never happen. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it was a very interesting episode. Well, do you want to say something about it?
No, I'm curious what you thought, and then
Why did you
because
send it to me?
um, I sent it to you because we had a conversation recently that you said something about everyone's watching YouTube. Like that's where everyone is getting all of their information is like, even if it's something from CNN or something from the New York Times, they're going to YouTube to watch it. And then I had listened to something that underscored that. And then listening to this, I was like, oh shit, interesting. Like the capture of the media culture. And you're going to remember this more than I will, because I will have a feeling uh, that is responding to it because my husband's in the industry. So my feeling was very like, oh my gosh, this is something I'm certain my husband knows about all of this stuff because he's keenly aware of, HBO being bought by all of the different things. He knows what's going on. But I never thought about it in the context of his actual work, and which we can say more about later. But I sent it to you because I thought, well, she is constantly creating content like on social media and researching, which I am not ever really on social media. Or I mean, like I read the New York Times and listen to so many podcasts, but when he started talking about YouTube, that's when my kind of like my radar started going off even more, like my internal, like it wasn't, I wouldn't even say it's fear, it was more just, well shit, what do you do? Oh my gosh, like is there another platform where you can be an independent thinker? And we live in Los Angeles where, yes, we have experienced some crazy shit out here. COVID, the fires, I mean, you name it. And everyone texts us I've got friends all over and they're all over the world who are texting, are you okay? And you're like, well, the fires are really 4 miles away, which is actually close, but we're still not seeing it. And so with internet and social media and news being completely accessible, it's really not. You're like, where are the actual, if journalists can't even, what's the word, report, then what do you believe and what do you do? And that got me concerned, even my husband, who's creative in the industry. So your
Yeah,
perspective is
so
going to be
listening to
very
it, I
different.
didn't think, I mean, he's in entertainment. He's not a journalist. And so I don't
Mm-mm.
necessarily think, because the bottom line will always be money, right? And as long as his shows are making money, they don't care what it's about.
That's the hope.
Well, I mean, I think so. I mean, his company is owned by a billionaire, and that's what their goal is. Um, the hopeful thing I thought is I listened to the Pivot podcast and then On with Kara Swisher. So Kara Swisher and Scott Galloway, they talk so much about this, just how the media landscape is so fragmented and no one's watching CNN and CBS and NBC anyway. They're watching creators, right? Like Aaron
Mm-hmm.
Parnas, do you know who he is?
Mm-mm.
Okay, so basically there's a ton of influencers who are journalists and that's who people are watching. They're not sitting down to watch CNN. And if they are, it's on their phone and it's a clip, right?
It's
It's
so
like
true.
very
I
few
mean,
people sit down and watch a whole news segment. And so to me, it's like, yeah, okay, well, if Larry Ellison has bought up all the news and Trump captures the media, who cares? Because we're not watching it anyway, you know?
but someone is, right?
Someone is. And that was the thing too. So the really interesting thing she talked about, her name was Natalia. I don't know. I only know that because it's my middle name, so I remembered that. I don't remember her last name. But she talked about the noise being the new
Mm-hmm.
censorship. And
Mm-hmm.
that was fascinating to me. So basically saying the fact that there's just so much
So
information
much.
out there that some of it's true, a lot of it isn't, and that's their tactic. The flooding the zone Steve Bannon tactic is just
Yes.
there's so much out there, people have to sift through it. And so that's what's interesting about my platform is I have so many people who will message me and be like, "Can you talk about this, or what do you think about this?" Like they want to ask me to make a video about it, but they want my opinion because
Mm-hmm.
even though they've never met me, I'm one of the few people they trust, which is hysterical.
Because
I
you're
mean, I
doing
am
the sifting.
trustworthy. Huh?
Because you're doing the sifting for them.
Yes, because they know I've looked into it. And so
Right.
they'll be like, "Did you look into this? Can you tell me what to think?" It's
And that
like,
maybe, honestly, maybe that's kind of why I sent it to you too, is because you just said noise. And that stuck out to me in the podcast a lot was like, it helped me think about all the stuff as noise. Because you talked to my husband and I about even food noise. Like just we are, Americans are consumers. We want to consume constantly. I walked today to take my daughter to school, and then I walked to the grocery store, and then I walked home and she left her lunch, and then I walked it back to school. So that's over 10,000 steps. But all I could think about was consuming podcasts. And I was like, oh, even I am just consuming constantly. Like, and so the noise stuck out. And you've talked about noise in the context of even food. And then, and now I'm listening to this going, oh, all the noise. Okay. Sifting through it. And so where you're coming in is you are sifting. So maybe that's part of why I sent it to you too, is like, hey, listen to this for me. I'm coming at it from a very emotional spot because while, yes, if the show makes money, there's something intuitively in me that goes just in the context of my husband's work and some of the different things I keep hearing about DEI and woke and all this stuff. I think, oh, can the noise distract so many people, even that hopefully money is it? I really do hope that everything still works as long as it makes money. But there's so many things that you have to get through to get the show even on the air that sometimes all the sheep listen to all the bad noise and it won't get made.
yeah,
Like everyone in Los Angeles is anyone who's in the industry is freaking out about their work. And there's so many people unemployed.
yeah. And AI is not going to help that.
No, not at all.
Well, I think so. The noise stuff, I'm very intentional with my balance of consuming and then sitting with it. Like, I will start feeling like almost like a junk drawer. Like my brain just needs to, I need to categorize everything and process it. And so I will completely stop. I reach a point where it's like I'm feeling overwhelmed and I can't put thoughts together. And it's because it's like I've consumed too much information and I just have to unplug and then let myself process it through before I
Yeah.
consume it again. And with social media too, it's like I'm actually not on it that much. When I'm on it, it's really answering messages from followers.
Mm-hmm.
Looking at it for myself, I mean, maybe an hour, probably less. I'm not on it that much, honestly, because of the noise. And I feel like how I look at all the noise right now is almost like a lazy Susan
Mm-hmm.
or something where it's spinning around. And I just kind of ignore a lot of stuff unless it seems really important to me. And then I put my finger out and I stop it. And I'm like, okay, that seems important. Like, I want
Mm-hmm.
to focus on that. And that's
Right.
what I'll talk about. And if it's some, because there's just too much stuff.
So much
And
stuff.
followers will message me stuff. And I'm like, no, I don't care. I don't think that's too important. It's like, there's too many things going on. There's a wonderful creator who actually lives in Los Angeles. Her name's Jess Craven. Have you seen her before? She has red lipstick.
Yes,
I'll
you sent her to me. Didn't you? Isn't she a like recovering evangelist or something like that?
No,
No?
that might be Monty Mader, the redhead.
Maybe. Maybe.
She's in Nashville. No, but she had a video where she talked about how she has buckets where she puts stuff not to worry about. So like Trump trying to run for a third term, she's like, I can't do anything about that now. So that's
Right.
my long-term bucket. I'm not going to worry about it. And she's like, I'm just going to have in this bucket, everyone needs to go vote for Prop 50 in California, right? Like I'm going to focus my energy on that. And I was like, that's what I do a little bit, where it's like, well, that's not something to
Compartmentalized.
worry about right now, to try to
Yeah.
sift through it. And so, yeah, it's like, so even if they do capture the media, there's so many creators out here who are sifting through it and trying to amplify messages. And it's like
Hmm.
the people I follow, if I, my algorithm is so tailored, which when I was in California with you for 2 weeks this summer and we switched phones because I wanted to see what your algorithm looked like. And it
Hmm.
was like,
Hmm.
so different from mine. Like mine is just everything is news story. And when I get onto Instagram within 5 minutes, I know the top 5 stories of the day because it's like all of the creators I follow are talking about it. And so it's like, okay, so this is what's spinning around. And then I can try to focus on that. Like, okay, well, this seems really important. Like everyone's talking about Snap going away this weekend, right? That's what all of the news is. Last week it was the White House, the East Wing getting torn down. And so it's like
Right.
we're still sifting through it a little bit. But in the podcast, they also talked about the algorithmic control and
Hmm.
how the techno bros are happy
Hmm.
to help Russia, are happy to help Trump, which
Hmm.
is so creepy. And I've told you, there's several times, and the past few days have been another instance. There's been several times where I feel like they've tweaked the algorithm because I'm seeing right wing content that I never see.
Are
And
you
that's
saying
been
that?
happening. It's happened probably 6 times,
Right.
and then it'll
Well,
go away. It's so weird.
didn't you, okay, so you're so much of a better listener than I am. But in that podcast, when he talked about videos of ICE raids being forced to be taken down, but then also like anytime anyone posts, it's gone immediately. Like the algorithm takes it away.
No,
And
that's what he was talking about. He said he was talking about there was apps where they're aggregating the videos.
oh, okay.
Yeah, because I see my feed's full of ICE videos. No, so the example he gave was he was talking about Google and Meta obeying Putin. Like Putin asked them to help him out with Navalny, and they did. And
Right.
same thing with the White House. So basically, there was an app that you could log on
Yes.
and you could see the ICE videos, and Apple agreed to take it down. That's what they were talking about,
Okay. That's right.
which is slightly terrifying.
It is actually. So that stuck in my mind. And then I started thinking, like, oh, so I actually need to probably get on YouTube to like see more stuff if I want to see actual things, or
Well,
I don't
I don't
know.
know. So I'm never on YouTube. I was just telling my husband this at lunch because when I'm trying to upload my videos to YouTube because YouTube actually pays me for content and Instagram doesn't. And so when I'm uploading the video, you have to stay in the app while you wait for it to upload. And so I'll
Hmm.
start looking at shorts, and I never do that on YouTube. And it's just slop. Like I don't know if I'm on it long enough if it'll get better, but they're like cheesy and bad. And it could be because my children always use my account. So it's like geared for the stuff that they like. But
Uh-huh. I just did a yoga video that was sent to me through my friend in India through WhatsApp. And she's like, here, do this for 14 days. It's in Hindi, but he'll say stuff in English. And I was like, okay, cool. So I'm on day 2 of doing it. And then once I was done with his video, it immediately, I guess, fed me all these other videos. And I was like, what is this stuff? Like, is this from my kids? Like, it's so weird. Slop is the perfect word.
maybe it is just from the kids. I don't know. But I just wasn't impressed with it. Like, so on Instagram, when I'm on Instagram, almost always it's like experts because it's geared towards what I like. I stop and
Right.
listen to experts. You know, it's like, hey, I'm a fascism expert. I'm like, okay, great. Let me listen to you. Or I'm a nutrition expert. Let me listen to you. I don't know.
I don't know either. I have no idea,
But
but
my answer to my husband was that the point about the YouTube is that not necessarily for shorts, but for longer form content, like for an episode of a podcast, people are going to YouTube. I don't know if
right.
it's I don't know if it's the same for shorts, which is all I was
Oh,
looking at was shorts. I don't know.
oh, maybe that's it too. I mean, my third born is the only one who's really ever on shorts, and the videos that were fed to me today had nothing to do with what he looks at. He just constantly looks at soccer and mountain biking. And for me, it was like like sacral repair, and then how to make money in 10 hours. And it was like these just very strange YouTube things. I was like,
Well,
oh,
that could be the advertising.
maybe.
Were they ads?
No, they were videos. They were like 10-minute videos but I'm definitely paying attention now in a different way than I feel like I had before. But I also never get on YouTube and have the past 2 days. So, um, to do these little yoga videos.
Sounds fun. I want to do yoga.
This guy, the one today was 10 minutes of core and laughter. And I was like, laughter yoga. And it was funny. It was funny. We laughed. You have to laugh. You lift your arms up and then you push the positivity and laugh. And I was laughing at myself. This is crazy. What am I doing?
You're getting rid of the negativity. The other thing they talked about in the podcast that I wanted to ask was regulating the tech industries, the tech bros.
Yes.
So there's a great book, How to Stand Up to a Dictator by Maria Ressa, and she is a Filipino American. And she basically talks about Duterte taking over the Philippines, and she gives statistics, but basically huge, like the Filipinos were on Facebook more than any other group in the world. Like they had a higher concentration, and it very much led to their dictatorship was the misinformation on Facebook, which was fascinating. And so there's that going on. And then have you ever heard of the stuff with Cambridge Analytics?
This sounds
Do you know what I'm talking about?
familiar. Yeah.
So basically, during the 2016 campaign, I'm
Yes.
pretty sure they did it in the Philippines as well. They are who analyzed it and could feed people the correct misinformation. Like, oh, you believe in this weird thing? Let me show you that.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Like you think Hillary Clinton's a liar, right? Like, let me send you all the information about her emails. And so they were like instrumental in getting Trump elected more or less because it's like they would target misinformation to you, like what you are most susceptible to based on how you act on the
Right.
platform.
And so how do they regulate that?
I don't know. I'm that's on my list of things to dig into. I've just heard about them. But my point is it's like, yeah, so how do we regulate that?
I
I
mean,
don't know
we
what
can't even
happened with
regulate
Cambridge.
we can't even regulate AI. How are we going to go back and regulate that?
But it's not even we can't even regulate AI. It's that from the beginning, the tech industry has thrown a fit about being regulated and they've always won. And now they're the most powerful people in the world, the richest, the
Yeah.
most powerful.
Yeah, that's what that podcast was talking about. Silicon Valley, man, they're just, yeah.
So, no ideas about that. How would we regulate them?
No. I mean, I haven't spent enough time really thinking about it, you know.
They talk about it a lot on Pivot, that it would be easy. Like, not allowing things that are violent or not allowing things that aren't true. Like, that's what's so strange, is it's like things can be blatantly untrue. My
Yes.
dad, an educated man, will be like, "Did you see this video on Facebook?" I'm like, "You're such an idiot." No.
Yeah.
Like half the stuff on Facebook isn't real. And it's like they see it on Facebook and they're like, this is a fact.
That's so true. Yeah.
You're not even on Facebook.
I have a Facebook account. I started it, I think, the year after. I remember my sister had it, and but she was still a student at UT. And so it's like she's like, you should get this because blah blah blah. But it was only for students at the time. And then I got an account. And then when I think the last time I was really on it was when my firstborn was a baby, because that's where I would upload videos of him for everybody who lived somewhere else. But no, I mean, I get on Facebook Marketplace to sell things or buy things.
It's on it for school stuff. Like it was really helpful remembering things for school. Like the PTA would post stuff, to like reminders. But I got off of it once Zuckerberg went to the inauguration, and I haven't missed it at all.
Yeah. I mean, I still have an account. You got rid of your account entirely, didn't you?
I closed my account entirely. But I have one for my for my Instagram account. And I have it set up where everything I post on Instagram goes to my Facebook.
Okay.
So, like, my account is on Facebook, but I am not.
Not. Right. Yeah, so I don't really I have had people in my life who have said things that they believe are fact that they've gotten from Facebook. Or I ask them, where did you get that from? Um, and they'll say Facebook. But like even my father, he's not on Facebook. And I'm like, where did you read that? But he's like obsessed with Dennis Prager. So he goes everything to Dennis Prager's website. And he sends me books. And I've read them all, by the way, because I was like, okay, I want to be able to have conversations with him. I'll read them.
Well, we have a mutual friend. I've told you this story before, where she was telling me all sorts of stuff during COVID, and I was like, "What are you talking about?" And I very, very respectfully was like, "Hey, so where did you hear this?" And she sent me a series of videos on YouTube from like RFK, and I was just like, "Oh my God!" And that's what's terrifying to me. I'm being serious. Like her, my dad, your dad, intelligent, educated people who are complete idiots when it comes to media literacy.
Well, okay, so then that's it. Media literacy. We have to be teaching, if scaffolding of education, we have to be teaching media literacy even at a young age, because it is my second born. Yesterday we went on a walk and she was talking about they in
Your second
her
born is a senior in high school.
senior in
Go
high
ahead.
school. She in class yesterday in her ethnic literature class, AP ethnic literature class, was they were talking about the NRA and the yes, because it was
What
where
was the book?
well, they just finished reading James, but the NRA, the issue that it always leads to conversation and debate, and so the teacher always wants them to have a healthy debate, and I can't completely remember, but I'm paraphrasing what she said was just like, so what they're proposing, the NRA is basically like, well, you have one gun, so I need 15 guns to make sure that you don't get your one gun. And she's like, that is completely illogical. She's like, that makes zero sense. And she's like, and people buy this and believe it? And I was like, yeah, they do. And so I'm like, okay, well, so she's literate, like she's got, and she's a thinker. She doesn't just regurgitate what her father and I say at all. She thinks through it. And I'm like, okay, so the media literacy is happening in her school. And on top of that, they're talking about social political issues that relate to everybody, because I know plenty of people who love their guns and have a healthy, well, healthy is not the right word, but they want more gun control, you know? And oh,
My dad believes in gun control,
yeah. So, but why was I going to this?
media
I was
literacy.
linking it back to like media literacy and just logical, common sense. Like, let's have some common sense here. And I can't, okay, I can't help but think these tech people, these tech bros or the Silicon Valley people aren't thinking about the consequences.
Yeah, they aren't. They don't
But
care.
they aren't. But I can't help
They
but think
aren't
like, how could they not? You know,
because
like,
they're not held responsible for it. Move fast and break things. There's a book called Careless People about Meta. And if kids use their stuff and kill themselves, the section 230 that they talked about in the podcast keeps
right.
they're immune from
They're immune.
prosecution. They're completely immune from accountability.
I
So
guess
why would
the
they
way,
care?
I guess I'm linking it to like, oftentimes people say, well, you don't have an issue with guns until you're personally affected by the gun. And so I'm like, how are none of these people in Silicon Valley, how have none of their kids, they have no personal anecdote that has affected them negatively in regard to
They don't because their kids aren't on any media. That's a huge thing about Silicon Valley. Their kids are like screen free. Their kids don't use these horrible things they make for us. Did you not know that? Is that not like
no,
well known? That's a
no.
thing. That is a
Huh.
Silicon Valley executives are famous for having their children be screen free. And so it's like, yeah, if what does that say if they're not letting their children use the things that they
Yes.
give our children? Yes.
Like the man who makes the cigarettes but doesn't smoke them. Why would I smoke? This is highly addictive.
No, so their children aren't on them. So and they're not going to be held legally responsible. So that's why I think that's why they're like morally repugnant. Is it's like, how can you not care that you're putting this out into the world? Like that horrible interview on Kara Swisher with those parents that I told you about. I mean, it was like a
Yeah.
gut-wrenching interview. And the mother said, you put out a product and my son is dead. Like, how can you not care? And it was just like, oh, yeah, Sam Altman, how can you not care? Like, how do you sleep at night?
It's like pesticides, like that whole big, um, I can't remember what state it was in, where they're leaching the pesticides into the water. So many of the kids get cancer. Yeah, people don't, you're right,
It
care.
can be regulated. There are ways to regulate all of this. There's ways to be safe, and they're just that's why I mean Scott Galloway talks about it all the time, but that's why they need to be heavily taxed because then it takes away their power. It funds our government and it makes it so they can't have a total monopoly on our
Right.
culture and keep giving us stuff that they don't take themselves. Harmful things that they don't use themselves.
You froze for a second there. Did you just say something?
My timer went off. I have to go get the
Oh,
kids. You did such a good job. You didn't interrupt me at all. You're such a good girl. Wow.